Hi guys, thanks for joining us. I'm going to give a brief update, just referring to some questions that were in the chat and questions about what's going on overall with the project. These won't be very um, detailed uh, in terms of an update, but they will just kind of give people an idea, a pulse check for where the project is at the moment. Um, one of the main issue or the main reason that Herman can't join at the moment is because the senior members of the project, the founders and technical leads, are very busy at the moment with the project planning for the next horizon, so to speak, of the Cherry network, which is, of course, the storage module, which is to be brought to the market at some point in the near future. This is something that is quite important to get right. In the past, we've had quite some success in terms of delivering a lot from a technical standpoint, delivering a lot of technical updates and achieving quite a lot for a relatively small project. However, at other times, often due to things outside of our control, some of the development aspects were delayed somewhat. This happened probably most memorably with regards to some of the complications that arose around the bridge, which I'll talk about a bit more in a moment. But the point is, and Herman has mentioned this when speaking about storage, is that we want to have a very future-proof and complication-proof plan for how the storage module will be released. Or, well, actually, the storage module is already there. But a couple of weeks ago, Herman gave a pretty in-depth account of what kind of strategic development decisions must be made, specifically in terms of the incentives and proper functioning of the Cherry storage feature. And what that means essentially is that, like the roadmap until now that has been delivered, there are a lot of things that need to be delivered in the right order and according to priority and in a stepwise fashion. This is why the layer 0 update was delivered first, then EVM, then the reverse bridge was released. Is that the reason is that these things must be done in a mature and sensible way in terms of the order of which they happen. Now, that might seem straightforward enough in terms of how to make a decision about that, but Herman and the other technical leaders of the project need to also take account of what is easier to develop, what our partners expect from us, what our partners are asking from us. We have some interesting developments in that regard that I'll leave for Herman to discuss during his next AMA session. And at this point, as was mentioned 2 weeks ago in the AMA, Herman discussed the fact that we have quite large enterprise clients working with us at the moment, and that they are essentially customers already. This is quite a good milestone for a small or relatively new project that's working on the cutting edge to achieve, because it often takes quite a lot of projects in Web3 a very long time to make any money at all. So we're very glad to have been able to get to market in that respect, probably somewhat ahead of schedule or ahead of the roadmap. But it's the reason for less forthcoming information about the roadmap from Herman is because all of these stakeholders need to be taken into account when planning how these things should be rolled out, what should be worked on first, etc. So that is where it stands with the strategic planning. It's ongoing. Work is being done in the background for, on the development of the storage module as we speak. Developers are working on that, but some of the senior developers and Herman, like I mentioned, are working on the planning of the next phase of the Cherry project. it would probably be, in my opinion, the most exciting phase so far, because while the technical development thus far has been quite cutting edge, quite exciting and innovative, the thing that we're all very much most interested in is market offerings that will really, make a dent in what is out there already, that will go toe to toe with our competitors and will be used by people. You could probably guess that from the perspective of our project, we do focus less on the hype aspect of things, and we focus more on actually building something that stands for itself and stands on its own 2 feet. And we're very much a developer and development focused project in every way. What this means essentially is that there will be, in the next short period, there will be an opportunity for Herman to, once the planning of this next phase on the horizon is done, then we can discuss these things with the rest of the community, which we're looking forward to. It's not that things aren't happening in the background, they absolutely are. It's just a question of our developers and senior members of the project being very tied down at the moment with how the overall project needs to be planned for the next while. Hang on there 1 second. I think I just need to take off battery saver off my phone because I think it just kicked in there. Sorry, guys. Don't pause up. 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. It was a bit embarrassing. My phone should have been more charged. Anyway, regardless, this is a good opportunity for us to show to the community what we have planned. Herman has said before that there won't be any specific one date where the storage module is essentially unveiled, for 2 reasons. First of all, and most importantly, there will be multiple components. This will be a staged release, so to speak, as Herman has talked about before. And second of all, if we put one specific date on the horizon, then it kind of creates extra complications. It can sometimes create unnecessary expectations in terms of what could be delivered, and then we can't really deviate either to the delay or to the expedition, the speeding up of those releases. So it will be something that we will try and give a range estimate for. In the background, as I said, we're continuing business development. We're continuing to talk to partners, and we're very keen on the big push that will occur around the release, or in the run up to the release of the next phase, the next horizon of the storage module, which really is the most central part of Cherry as a project. What that means specifically, I would probably refer back to a blog post that Herman put out, and quite a long AMA that he put out. I'm going to think it was last September, perhaps September or August, in which he discussed that the focus from our perspective is away from some of the other added features or added focuses of Cherry, directly into moving from that specifically to being focused on storage. And as we discussed, and as he discussed a couple of weeks ago, a lot of the existing incumbents, which are now very large and have had good progress in the market, and all compliments to them for that, they've often spent more energy, or perhaps too much prioritizing of their efforts on things like marketing, etc., rather than actually developing out their feature set. In Web3 especially, people are very, very well educated in terms of what the technology is. That doesn't mean that there's not a lot of bad projects that do quite well, but generally, if you're aiming to have a project that people can, you want people to actually use, then developers won't be fooled by kind of hype and a lot of bluster. So that is our goal. We've taken this decision pretty much from the very outset of the project that we will focus on the substance of development and less so and less burning of our money on essentially empty words and empty marketing. Now, while this sounds like a very sensible approach, it also does put the pressure back on the Cherry team to make sure that they deliver these things to a very high level. And that's what we intend to do. So I appreciate everybody's patience in the last few weeks. We will have more interesting things to talk to you about. And Herman discussed some of those in the recent past, in the last AMA, and I did as well. We have to revamp the marketing and social media presence, as well as the website. These are things that are pretty much deliverable at this point, insofar as the work being already done on these things. We just have to execute them. And essentially, my point here is that the intensive deliberating and decision making in the past couple of weeks that's been the focus of the founders of the project, and that's kind of taken our bandwidth away from being able to put into practice some of the things that we have talked about for quite a while and have to deliver on soon. So if you bear with us, you'll start to see more of a expansion in our communications and more of an expansion in terms of the messaging and info that we can give you guys, because a lot of people are asking me about roadmaps, etc., and the roadmap is being deliberated at the moment in terms of its finer details. But certainly the whole point is that all focus is back on storage at the moment. So that's the main message that I have. Now, if you just hang on 2 seconds, I have another couple of notes, just a couple of things to go over, and we'll call it a day then. So bear with me, please. Okay, so aside from that, with regards to the bridge issue should be pretty much resolved. There is some delays that needs to be fixed. A couple of people got back to me today and asked about some transactions or something that took longer than expected. That is something that we are trying to troubleshoot. So please let me know. Send me a DM, or even in the chat you can mention if you've had any problems with stuck transactions, etc. There was a question about staking. Someone had an issue with staking. Herman is now looking at that as we speak, and trying to get that resolved. I've spoken to the person in question, but if there's any issues around staking, then you can let me know, because at this point, these things should be pretty much resolved. Aside from that, we have been quite busy. I actually met with a media company in Dublin today, which is why I'm wearing my monkey suit, about our PR and how we will get the message of Cherry out in the future. So we're quite busy with that as well. That's taken up pretty much most of my time. Some of the things that we talked about before Christmas, such as we want to do video content that will explain what Cherry does and the competitive advantage of Cherry. These things have been delayed, but it is certainly something that we have to really get moving on, because there is a backlog of things that we have to get through that we've talked about for a while. And I suppose I just want to communicate the fact that we're acutely aware of the things that we haven't had time to deliver on, because of the focus on the more core aspects of the project. But the overall Cherry brand really needs to be shored up. Herman has talked about this as well, and this is very much a priority, and you should start seeing this pretty much immediately, the initiatives that we're going to take in that regard. With regards to our communications tempo or schedule, we're going to, as I said last time, revert to Herman speaking to us every couple of weeks in the AMA, and then in the other weeks that he's not there on Wednesday, then I can talk to you guys about some of the less central and less strategic aspects, such as marketing. We'll probably get some partners in to discuss their, views on anything really, what they're working on, and also what they see for Cherry in the future and how they're partnered with us, etc. One of our larger investor and also kind of collaborator partners will hopefully be able to talk to us about this. I'm not sure exactly, but it will certainly be in the next couple of weeks. So that should be quite good. Um, expect the roadmap update to be discussed very soon as well. And that will be something that you can kind of sink your teeth into. But that is very much a high level and strategic thing that Herman is deliberating on, which is kind of what I've been discussing today. There was other questions about hiring and the size of the team and stuff. I think we've got, if you include everybody who contributes to the project in one way or another, it's like, I'd say it's about 15 people or so. The vast majority of them are developers or technical in some way. And while we don't think it's the right time to start hiring more right now, we will see as the roadmap ramp up towards storage expansion occurs. We will be relooking at that and seeing what areas we can possibly do with some help on and some extra manpower or person power, whatever you want to call it. And more broadly, in terms of the strategy of or where we find ourselves strategically, there is obviously a real buoyancy in the crypto industry at the moment, in the Web3 industry. Bitcoin is doing very well, and there's quite a lot of bullishness and optimism in the market. And we want to start to rebuild or re-execute our brand, and also deliver a vision of the technical future of the company as soon as possible to capitalize on this energy and kind of renew the resolve of the team and our investors and of course our community. Absolutely. So I'm going to actually leave it there. We're also probably going to restart the office hour things probably on Fridays, and I'll just take you guys through an hour in my week and what I tend to work on and stuff like that. And I can also get some valuable input from you guys as well. So I'm going to wrap it up here. Probably took more than I needed anyway. So if you hang on, I'm going to get ChatGPT to transcribe this, and I'll actually add a kind of summary of sorts as well, because I think that a lot of people get bored when they're having to read through a very long transcript. So I'll add a summary at the top where you guys can get the most important points. No quiz today because we're too busy, but we'll get back to that pretty soon. Some people are still waiting for quiz prizes. I'm sorry, that's been pretty much my fault. It's just a question of having our attention divided in a lot of different directions, but I will be able to get to that very soon. So in the meantime, until I deliver the summary of this, and myself and other members of the team will be active in the chat and answering questions over the next couple of days, and then we'll have more info forthcoming about the next steps for the project, etc. So thank you all for tuning in for this short, brief update. I hope that gives you an idea of how things stand with the project at the moment. Things are quite busy, possibly even hectic, but still at the same time, very optimistic, and the morale is good. We're very keen, especially as you guys have mentioned, with the, it's a time of optimism. It's springtime in the Web3 world at the moment. So we're really keen to just get out there and really set down a marker and start realizing and showing the progress that we've been working on for the past year plus, actually. So thank you all for joining. I'll leave it there. And as always, if you have any questions, send me a DM or tag me in the chat or whatever. So thanks very much, guys. I will talk to you very soon.